Oftentimes, we find ourselves wondering, how did we get here from the bed? It takes enough strength to finally be able to drag our butts and get creative, but then we ask ourselves, what is something new that we should explore today? And right then we play our first note, the C, and keep on playing while thinking back to the time we woke up this morning and how an extra 5 minutes of sleep would have added to our creative workflow. We let our fingers glaze through the keyboard and play out itself. The most beautiful, thought-provoking, pure, innocent scale. A scale we only dreamed of. Are we still asleep? Is this a dream? No, it's just Dorian. Are you relaxed with that intro yet? Welcome back, guys. How have you been? It's been a long time. I know I've been away. Let me first start off by saying a happy new year to you and your family. I hope you guys are safe in these times and your family is also safe. I know I've been away for a while and there's a reason for it. Well, I contracted the virus. I'm okay now. I'm recovering. But now I'm back and it's good to be back in the year 2022. I hope things would get better. We all hope, but let's see. A lot has changed, a lot has come in the studio, and there are new ideas for this channel, new content ideas for you guys. So I've completed the studio more or less. It's never ending. But as of now, I think I'm happy with what I have, and I'll be doing a studio tour soon enough for you guys on this channel. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and smash that like button. A full-blown studio tour is coming your way, so you don't want to miss out on that. And hey, if you want to share your music with the rest of the world in the year 2022, I'll be leaving my DistroKid affiliate link where you can avail 7% off on sign up. And while you're at it, do check out the Amazon affiliate links of the products that I personally recommend and use. You won't be charged extra, but I do get a small kickback to help me keep this channel up and running. So in this video, I wanted to discuss something about music theory. Now, we all know about major and minor scales, and we all know how to create chords and chord progressions. And if you don't know, and if you want to check that out, I've already done a video on it. The link would be probably over here on the iCard. So do go ahead and check that out, where I have explained how the triads are created, how you can create chord progressions in both major and minor scales. So in other words, the major scale is also called as Ionian scale, and the degrees are from 1 to 7. Now for the minor scale, we also call it as Aeolian, and the degrees are 1 to flat third, fourth, fifth, flat 6, flat 7, and back an octave. So interestingly enough, if you want to take a key and you want to play all of these notes in major and minor scale, and you create some chord progressions and you play all of these notes in some order, you get a melody. Now let's say if you want to create a melody in the key of F sharp major, and you've created the chord progressions, and if you play, let's say, major scale, if you play all of the notes in the F sharp major scale in some order, you start getting a melody. And if you don't know about composition, I've also done a video on composition where you can check that out over here. But what's interesting is that if you switch up those degrees, you start getting a different flavor, and different type of scales will pop out, which we call as modes. So let me be very honest, I absolutely didn't know anything about modes until I think 2012. It was back in 2012 where I was heavily into punk rock and blues, and I was only focused on anything which had 4 chords and anything which had major and minor scales. I was just practicing blues guitars, pentatonic, and I was heavily into rock and pop and punk rock, and I didn't quite frankly enjoy coming out of the comfort zone. Now yes, that's another reason that I didn't understand anything about modes and music theory back then. But I started coming out of my comfort zone probably 8 years back. And when I started producing ambient music, future garage and electronic music, started exploring different modes, started realizing that this is something very interesting and I should venture out of my so-called comfort zone of major and minor scales and anything which has 4 chords and start pushing my boundaries to achieve something very different. And interestingly enough, one day I was just playing my keyboard and I was just exploring different kind of modes, but I didn't know how it worked. And all of a sudden, I just played a scale which was so beautiful, so ethereal that I couldn't stop playing. And all of a sudden, the major and the minor scale, the so-called major and minor scale, started sounding so boring and mundane. So let me play that for you right now. What a beautiful scale. That, my friend, is the Dorian scale, one of the 7 modes. So what's a Dorian scale? Well, glad you asked. A Dorian scale is one of the 7 modes of a diatonic scale series. All of the 7 modes of the diatonic scale series are Lydian, Phrygian, Mixolydian, Ionian, which is the major scale, Aeolian, which is the minor scale, Dorian, and then Locrian. Now here's how to understand a Dorian scale in very simple terms. If you take a minor scale, which is the Aeolian scale, and you switch up the 6th degree to a full whole step. Now in a minor scale, the degrees are 1, 2, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 6th, flat 7th, and back to the octave. Now if you take the flat 6th and you push it to 1 semitone above and do a whole 6, so you have 1, 2, flat 3rd, 4th, 5, 6th, and then flat 7, you get a Dorian scale. So let's understand the Dorian scale. Now let's take an example of the simple Dorian scale, D minor scale. So the notes in the D minor scale, right now I'm talking about Aeolian, which is the normal minor scale, are D, E, F, G, A, B flat, and C, and then back to D. So that's your D minor scale. Now, if you bring the 6th degree, which is the B flat in this case, 1 semitone above, which will then become a B, you get all of the white notes and you get a D Dorian scale, which sounds like this. So how beautiful is that? That's pretty ethereal. It still makes me emotional to this day. I always use a Dorian scale, be it whatever key, but it just is so beautiful. So it sounds not too bright and happy and not too sad either. Somewhere in the middle, somewhere ethereal and ambient. Now, if you take the Dorian scale and you bring the 3rd degree 1 semitone above, you get the Mixolydian scale. So let's play the D Dorian scale. Now the 3rd degree is the F, and I'm bringing the F 1 semitone above, which is the F sharp. Now if I play all of the notes, I get a Mixolydian scale. That's your D mixolydian scale. Now, if you bring the 7th note of the mixolydian scale one semitone above, you start getting a major scale, otherwise known as Ionian. So I've brought the 7th note, the 7th degree of a mixolydian scale, which is the C, to C sharp, and I get a D major scale. D Dorian, D mixolydian, D major, and D minor. So here is a chart of all the modes. Pause the video, take a screenshot of this and save it on your hard drive, make it a wallpaper, make a shirt out of it. Because once you start exploring these modes, you will find your composition game on a different level. And the same major and minor scales will now sound boring and plain to you. So that was it for this video, guys. I hope you learned something from this. Do share your stories of how you learn the music theory, some fun stories, some exciting stories, and don't be afraid. I was in the same boat. I was too lazy, and it was long back that I understood that I should push myself out of my comfort zone. So don't fret, but do share your stories of how you learn. And if you have any questions regarding the scales and the modes, do fire away in the comments down below and I'll be happy to get back to you. If you did like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. And if you are liking this video and liking what I'm doing here, please do buy me a cup of coffee. The link is in the description box below. And hey, if you want to check out more such production videos and tutorial videos, there are a bunch of them over here. I do a lot of tutorials on various ambient music, future garage music, and bring out those genres out to you guys and make it simpler so that you can also produce and you can also learn from all of the tips and tricks that I picked up over the years. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, cheers.